What's up, people? What's up, people? What's up, people? It's your boy MM2K back again. Let's get rid of this with another episode of Stadia Live Session featuring MM2K. Let me do something real quick because I gotta remember. I tried to end sound off earlier so I can get ready for SLS featuring MM2K and set up what I need to set up, because these are two totally different shows, two different UI setups and all this crazy stuff, right? So bear with me here, folks, as I try to get this together. All right, give me 1 second. Let me get right here on the right channel so y'all can see me. Boop. Can y'all see me? Nope, y'all can't see me. Why can't y'all see me? Why can't y'all see me? Okay, now y'all can see me. Okay. Now, let me post this here. Something here. Okay. I got to post it everywhere where I need to post it. Where is, I gotta go back here. All right, cool, man. Cool. Good to see everybody in the house. We see y'all on social. Oh, for some reason the social ain't showing up. Let me copy it. Let me go back here, make sure that the social shows up. Oh, I didn't connect it, that's why. All right, now it's connected, okay. So who we got here? We got Dusty Aran in the house. He says, hi. Good brother over there. He was over there with me in Sound Off. Sound Off went in a completely different direction. Oh, man. It went in a completely different direction. Let me do this. Because while I'm here, go to the rundown. And I'm going to edit this. Whenever we make this live, I don't want it to be here forever. So I want the trigger to be 10, maybe 15 seconds. That's enough time, I think, for us to read, close. All right, let's go back. Let's hope that it's working that way. You're watching the sausage being made on SLS featuring MM2K. All right, we got the homie Sanchez. He said he just became a member. I can dig it. We were talking about that on Sound Off, right? Right, Dusty? We were talking about that, man. You guys be missing out on a lot. You missed out on the big bundle giveaway, which Dusty won, but then he gave it up and we respun, and the homie Geek the Sneak won. And we talked about where some of you guys may have been, for the lack of a better term, lied to. Where some of you guys may have been lied to and told, oh, you don't want to become part of that because you're not going to get that. We've given over $1,000 in different gifts and things like that. It's probably more. I got to do the books. I have to do the books for something else anyway. So we've probably, no, you know what? Now that I think about it, we've given away thousands of dollars towards stuff. And I'm not even including Jack stuff. Jack stuff is a whole nother level. But we've given thousands of dollars away, just for being a member and things of that nature. So if you weren't a member, or if you were, skeptic because of things you heard, you missed out on a lot. Dusty can tell you, he probably is tripping over all the stuff that he's won from us. And we didn't say, oh, we only got 3 supporters, we're not going to do this. No, we're not doing this so we can gain people. We explained why we were doing this in Sound Off. A lot of it I don't want to get into here. For those that saw Sound Off or heard Sound Off, you understand why. And we were doing it for the community. So whether it's 3 or 300 or 3,000 or -3, we're going to hold the raffle, and whoever wins, wins. So yes, smart move. All it takes is $2 in a dream. I wish I could make it $1, but all it takes is $2 in a dream, to go in and get a ticket and be part of our either a controller giveaway or what they call the Google Play and Watch bundle. You know what I mean? And shout out to Geek to Sneak. Shout out first and foremost to Dusty Rand for being the gentleman that he is, and the caring gamer that he is, to give it up. And congratulations to Geek to Sneak for winning that raffle. All right. So with that said, I want to shout out the chat. Who else we got up in here? We got Colin Dynasty. He said, "What it do?" What's up, Colin? It's good to see you as always. Sanchez says, "How are you?" I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I'm a little salty. I'm gonna explain that a little bit. And but besides that, I'm doing good. I'm in good spirits. Thank you, my brother, for asking. Avery Bobo in the house. Shouting out Collins. Sanchez says, "No face cam. We can't see you." I know, man. I still gotta hide my pretty face now. It's job stuff. If it wasn't for this weirdo job that I have, I'd be here. Let's see here. Elk News says, "Whoop whoop." What else we got here? Dusty says, "Yup," in reference to what I was talking about before. Windstar, Kenry V's in the house. Good to see you, Kenry V. Also good to see Purple Haze. Hey, y'all. Hey, Haze, you coming on SSC Podcast day after tomorrow? If you are, hit me up or hit up the homie. Golly, I can't. I'm all over the place. Hit up Pete if you want to come on this week. Pays to be a member. Dusty says, "I bought Hellpoint from Jack's giveaway. From winning Jack's giveaway." Who else? Or 3 million, says Avery Bobo. All right. So we got a good number of people. Let's try to get some more in here before we get things started. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Here, let me do this. Well, not a lot of stuff. There's a couple of things that came across my mind. One thing I really didn't get to touch on, which I might touch on here. Something that grinds my gears, man. I might touch on it here, depending upon the time that we have. I'm not sure how long we're going to go with this one. And because we got to, don't forget, we have the interview this week. I mean, Jesus Christ. Tonight, a special episode of Stadium Connect North, where yours truly will be there. We're going to be talking to, let me see here. John. Let's see here. We're going to be talking to our good friends. We're going to be talking to developers. I'm just looking at so much crap. Oh my gosh. Excuse me for not having my thoughts together. But we're going to be talking to Luminosum Games developers, and we're going to be going over some key things there. So you're not going to want to miss this interview. It's going to be great. I can just tell. So be there for Stadium Connect North. It's either going to be on John's channel or Ninja Guy X's channel. Their channels are in the description below. So definitely be ready for that. That's going to be a great interview. Nerds World in the house. Hey, Nerds World, did you get your controller yet? Let me know if you got your controller. We're going to let a couple more people come in here. Psalmist Pro was there. He says, "We're here now, baby." He was there. Shout out to Psalmist Pro. Who else we got here? We said, did I miss anybody? I want to make sure I didn't miss anybody. Yeah, so again, a reminder that tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be live with John Scar, Ninja Guy X. We're going to be doing the interview with Luminosum Games, and we're going to be talking about their latest contribution to the Stadia platform. It's going to be a great session. You don't want to miss any of that. All right, so let me see here. Let me take a look here. Make sure I got all my notes in order. All right, I got everything in order. All right. So I think we got a good amount of people tuning in right now. Let everybody know that we're live too. We appreciate it. Let everyone know that we are rocking tonight with a special SLS featuring MM2K because we are going to be talking about World War Z. We'll be talking about the whole Stadia Pro lineup as well as Stadia Pro, well, the Stadia 2s. We'll be talking about that. Let me see here. Did I retweet this out? No, I didn't retweet this out. And I want to go back here. And because I want to shout out my homie Sanchez for joining the member family. You know how we do. This is how we do it. Uh-oh. It ain't letting me find Sanchez. Sanchez, I'm gonna find you. Also want to tweet out again. Don't forget. I think I just saw John Scar put out again. Oh, where's that? Goodness gracious. Twitter, it kills me when it does stuff and it just shoots things all over the place, and it doesn't allow you to you see it. You see a podcast or you see a tweet, and then you want to retweet it out, and then it just disappears. You know what I'm saying? That drives me nuts. But shout out again to Sanchez. Okay, I think we're gonna get started now with the show, with our show notes. All right, so let's talk about it, folks. It took up all of our show today on Sound Off when it really wasn't even on the books. But let's get to it. Let me show you something. This week on Stadia, it says spring forward into games. And the big whoop to do today, folks, is these days are getting longer. The weather is warming up and the games just keep on coming. Spring is in full swing here on Stadia. And whether you prefer April showers or May flowers, we've got something for everybody. They say a new game joins Stadia Pro's library today. World War Z Aftermath, or fourth title to join Stadia Pro's April lineup. World War Z Aftermath pits players to fight with AI teammates or up to 3 friends against massive hordes of zombies taking over the world. Let's take a look at the trailer. Oh, why did I'm sitting there thinking, and I'm using this time to tweet this out a little bit more. I'm sitting there thinking like I got the music playing, and I don't. My apologies. But there goes the trailer. I should have had the music playing. My deepest apologies. I am not on my A game today. Sound Off completely threw me off because I have something that I really want to talk to you guys about, but I didn't talk to you guys about it on Sound Off, and I'm trying to figure out a way to squeeze it in here because it's a big conversation, but I think it's going to need its own show. So now that I'm thinking this thing out loud, we'll probably address a little bit of it here, and we're going to address most of it on a separate show. But here it also says, just don't forget that in addition to World War Z Aftermath, subscribers can also claim Ease 9 Monstrum Nux, City Legends, The Curse of Crimson Shadow, Chicken Police Painted Red, Try Super Animal Royale Humankind, and World War Z Aftermath. No Stadia account necessary. Today, anyone can jump into Super Animal Royale Humankind and World War Z Aftermath with new trials of these full games at stadia.com/games. Invite your friends or family to join in on the fun at no cost without a Stadia account. Just click and be playing a time-limited trial in second. Super Animal Royale for a 60-minute trial. Humankind, 120-minute trial. And World War Z Aftermath, a 60-minute trial. Says join up to 3 friends or play on your own AI teammate against hordes of ravenous zombies in the ultimate co-op zombie shooter inspired by the Paramount Picture blockbuster. After the trial, claim it with a pro subscription or purchase for $39.99 on the store. All right. Then there's Play Monster Chicken Royale on PUBG. Here it goes. Let's show this. This looks crazy. This is nuts looking. Because I saw this and I thought it was a mod, but it's something that they really added to the game. This is nuts. Take a look. Maybe I should play the audio. No, I don't want to play the audio because it's going to mess with the audio that you're hearing in the background. Check this out. This is crazy. Big ass chicken. It's so stupid. The ultimate chicken dinner. Monster Chicken Royale, April Fools 2022. Existence. So I don't know how that works. That's kind of crazy. I don't know how that works, if that's gonna make you, if it's like a PvE thing or if it's still Battle Royale. I don't know how that works. Then they continue to say, they say, everyone seems to be craving chicken dinners. PUBG has prepared the extra big dish for you. Meet a real-life monster chicken ravaging the streets of Karakin in Labs update. The way to earn the winner monster chicken dinner is very simple. Either make the monster chicken hit HP hit 0, or like usual be the last one standing by eliminating every foe. Okay, so it's okay, gotcha. Says grab a slice of cake and join us as we celebrate. The Elder Scrolls Online turns 8, and then there's a Stadium Ultimate Sale. Upgrade your play with great deals. Destiny 2 Witch Queen Deluxe Edition, Mortal Kombat 11, Ultimate Valkyria Chronicles 4 Complete Edition, and more for up to 75% off. Don't miss out. Sale runs out April 12th. Okay. And they say that's it. So, with that said, my friends, it's poll time. Poll time. Excellent. You know what we normally ask. Before we get to the big whoop to do, which is World War Z, we're going to ask, what do you grade this? What do you grade twos for this week? And so we got our normal options, which is A, B, and options C or D. Let's know. Let's be honest, because this is your show. And I just saw something from Nerds World. He said he didn't get it yet. Oh, okay, Nerds World. I'm gonna check on that. I think I put a tracker on that. But everybody, I think Psalmist got his. I think everybody else got theirs, and so it's just you and Geek to Sneak, and we'll have all of our giveaways done for this month, or for we'll be caught up on all our giveaways. Shout out to Geek to Sneak. He says I missed Sound Off. Oh yeah, Geek, you missed Sound Off. Yeah, man, we were okay. I'm gonna get in the Sound Off in a little bit. I don't want to get there yet. We talked about World War Z the whole damn show. It was great conversation though, Geek. Check it out. Shout out to Igor. Igor was there. Dusty was there. Psalmist. We all had a good chat about World War Z. We're gonna get into it a little bit, but before we get there, I want to talk about this. So again, your votes are anonymous. I don't get to see what you voted. I don't report it to Google, nor less does Google give a damn about anything that I got to report anyway. But go check. But vote again. The poll is, what would you grade this week on Stadia for this week? A, B, C, or D? Let us know in the chat. This is very important stuff that I think Stadia needs to see, because it lets them know how they're hitting with their, their target demos. You know what I mean? So go ahead and put that out there. And also, tweet this out. Let everybody know that we're live as we discuss this stuff. I'm going to go to the chat. Let's see here. All right, let's start it off. I think we got a good number of people here. Let's start off. Wish they made smartphones with physical keyboards. Touchscreens typing is a pain. I know. Yeah, same here, Dust. I have that problem. You know what? I had the Motorola Razr, and that was the best phone ever. Not only did it, because I would routinely, again, I have big fingers as well. I would routinely type stuff, hit the wrong button or hit multiple buttons. But the spell check on that phone was so great. It was like, okay, this is what you meant to say. Reunite, not reuniting, right? But the spell check on these current phones, they're dumb. So I end up typing a lot of bad stuff that I don't mean to, but I text quick, and I end up hitting the wrong stuff. So yeah, I know exactly where you're coming from. Geek to Sneak says, what is up, MM2K in chat? It says, I just did a raw 1 hour Stadia stream over on my channel. My first Stadia Hey, drop that link to that, brother. You know how we do. Come on. You should be a mod. You should be a mod too. Nerds World. Hold on, let me see. You know how we do. Add mod. Okay, now you're a mod. You've earned your wings. Drop that link, brother. You know how we do over here. Come on. Drop that link. Okay, that's the wrong slide. What the hell was that? Let's see what else we got here. Oh, you did it, and he did it of World War Z Aftermath. Okay, cool. All right, let's fix this. Jesus Christ. I fixed this the last time we were here. We got in you now, your mama knows. He said, World War Z is finally here, and I don't know what to do with myself, says the homie Cowboy. Well, I got some things to say, Cowboy, so you're gonna want to stick around. You're gonna want to stick around, Cowboy. I got some things to say about that. Well, what else? What do y'all think before we get to that? What do y'all think about this too? So let's talk about it. I'm looking at the poll right now. I'm looking at the chat, and right now we're looking at, 62% give it a B. But we have over 20 people watching, only 8 votes. Come on, y'all. Like, it's anonymous. What do you think? If you wanted to give it an F, I'm sorry, D's the they only let you do up to D. So just give it a D. You know what I mean? If that's your case, give it an A. If it's an A plus, then just give it an A. If it's a B plus, give it a B. But again, we got over 20 people watching, and we got 9 votes. Come on, y'all. Thank you. There you go. And hit that like button too while you're at it. It helps the algorithm. It helps us out a lot. You can hit that super chat button too if you want to. Any support that you give is highly appreciated. It goes towards the giveaways and the different things that we want to do on this platform for the community. This is a community platform. That's why we have Jack Deslip participating. We got the homie Squid doing his thing, killing it every morning, Monday through Friday. You know what I'm saying? And we got more. There's more conversations, more conversations, more convo. Just got to connect with people. I be sitting there thinking of these crazy ideas all the time. There just isn't enough people in the Stadia community to supplement all the crazy ideas that I want to do. I be thinking of crazy ideas that I know, pieces of content that I know you guys would love, content that I would love to do, but it requires a group effort. You know what I mean? So, just bear with us. I'm telling you, the next 2 pieces of content that we got coming to the platform, Jesus. All right. So, and now your mama knows says, I'm not going anywhere. You want to hear? You want to hear what we got to say? Yeah. It's gonna be a doozy. But yeah, share this out. Let everybody know that we're live. We appreciate it. We thank you so much for your support. Yeah, the polls, okay, good. It's growing. Good. Thank you very much. Again, the results are anonymous. I don't see who does what. It just shows me the percentage that you voted and how many people are voting. All right. So we're going to leave that there. Now, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. World War Z. Part of the reason why I didn't get to talk about everything that I wanted to talk about in Sound Off is because I was trying out World War Z. And in the process of me trying it out, I said, something doesn't seem right. And I thought it was something on my end because with this LG TV, what it tends to do is for some reason, it takes the 4K a while to come in. Does it with the Division and other games that I play all the time. Now, granted, every single game that I play, I don't use the 4K mode. But when I'm playing a new game, I like to take a look at the 4K mode just to see how well it looks. You know, if it's medium settings or whatever. It's just a pulse check on, the effort that's being put in the game to me. So I like looking at the 4K mode, but most times, again, when it comes to AAA games, with rare exceptions to like the Division and stuff like that, when it comes to AAA games, the 4K mode is usually in 30 frames per second, and I can't play 30 frames per second. Just can't do it. So I went to go see. I was like, okay, I don't know. I was feeling confident. I was like, there's going to be a 4K mode. But I wasn't sure if there was a 1080p 60 mode. That's where those of us that game in 1080p 60, where there's angst, where we get concerned. Because then I say to myself, oh man, what if there isn't a 60 frames per second mode? Nah, there's gotta be one. This is part of the low charge porting. I saw the end result of MotoGP 2021, even though that's a less demanding game. This is a porting process, and it's a porting process that's being used to give us games that we're being asked to pay for or asked to pay to access, and that's being done knowing the expectations of the consumer. So I said, let me not have any angst. There's no reason to have angst about this. They get that, and I'm going to get my 60 frames per second mode. Right. Well, after realizing that it wasn't anything on my end, as far as the 1080p kicking in, because sometimes this LG monitor, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but it has problems putting things in the 60 frames per second, or I'm in 4K sometimes, and I got to wait longer than normal. I realized that it wasn't my TV, that there is no 4K mode here for World War Z. So then I realized I was partially right. Okay. And so then that, my friends, puts me in the thought process where I'm at right now, where I said I'm a little salty, and really presents a unique opportunity, I think, for us as Stadians, as those that support this platform and will continue to support this platform. I think it presents an opportunity for us to switch gears a little bit and really put on our consumer hats. See, here's the thing. Even if World War Z had a 4K 30 mode and a 1080p 60 mode, all I'm doing is I'm going into the 4K 30 mode. I'm looking at it just again to see how much time and effort was put into it. And then I'm playing the 1080p 60 mode here on out with no problem. You know what I'm saying? I mean, probably looking at it and saying, I wish there was a little bit more clarity. You know what I'm saying? I wish it was sharper resolution. Like I tell you guys, I'm a resolution guy. I wish it was, it was coming, it was working off a base 1440p or even a 1200p. But I can play this smooth. It looks good. It doesn't look like these are low textures. You know what I'm saying? Or, these look like high textures. From what I could see. I could be wrong. It's blurry, and it's particularly blurry because when you put this on a 55 inch, I think this is a 55 inch or 48 inch. I'm sorry, 48 inch LG TV. It looks blurry, right? But it's playable. It's definitely playable and it's enjoyable. So me as MM2K the gamer, this isn't cumbersome to me so much. Yeah, I want better, but isn't cumbersome to me so much because I get my 60 frames per second. But as MM2K the consumer, this is a problem. I repeat, this is a problem. The problem is that this is a game launching into a service to where a staunch element of that service is 4K. And now we're running into more frequent situations where these games launch into this service where a pillar of that service is 4K. You could very well have people that just pay into that service or 4K. And they're not getting 4K games. That's the equivalent of Xbox Live or PlayStation Plus making you pay for online activity, and they just tell you, well, for our platform, online isn't going to be available for this game. But you look elsewhere and it's available. And then you look and say, hold on, the only reason why I'm paying for Xbox Live, I don't care about the games. The only way I'm paying for Xbox Live is for your pillar service, which is it grants me access, online access to these games. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Again, without jumping into the doom and gloom atmosphere, I do have to say this. That Stadia on that front does have to get better at delivering, meeting those expectations for its consumers. I totally get it. It's the early years. This is a niche product. You don't go for broke and pay $11 billion to get the game ported and get it in 4K and have every game looking like I totally get it. But it seems like that the floor and the ceiling that's being operated from during what is an understandable pivot needs to be raised up. The bar just needs to be raised up just a little bit. It's one thing to not deliver 60 frames per second. That was an offering that you talked about quite frequently. And it was a pillar selling point to your platform. And we get it. Some developers just wanted to grab the bag and run. Really not too much you can do about the effort people put in. However, it's a challenging situation to tell people, yes, I am charging you for an amenity where on your platform, that amenity is becoming more and more unavailable. Now, I'm not saying the majority of the games aren't having a 4K, but we're starting to see a lot of games go into Stadia Pro and the 4K portion is not showing. You would think that games, at least games, going into Stadia Pro had 4K included. This is not a situation that for the long term is sustainable, even during a temporary period. I think that the effort needs to increase you either need to increase the effort to ensure 4K is there regardless of the effort that comes from the developers. And I know that's not the long-term solution. You don't want to have to get into the nitty-gritty of developing. That's not what you want to do. But you can't, there's just certain things that you can't throw up your hands on and say it's up to the developers when we're paying you the money. There's just a trickle down culpability, and I get the situation you were put in. I get it. But to compensate for that, especially when you're charging people for an amenity that at the very least should be there for the games that are coming into that service that you're charging them for, you got to have it. That is the floor that you should operate from. Even, and this pains me to say this because I'm a 60 frames per second nut. I gotta have the 60 frames per second. You're talking to somebody right now who, when it comes to 4K, if the choice was 4K and 60 frames per second, I should be shutting up right now because I got my 60 frames per second. But as someone that's a consumer and who often battles for consumers even out of my realm, you can't keep doing that. Whatever has to be figured out to address why games, or it's challenging that games aren't launching at 4K that are going into Pro, you have to figure that out, and you have to figure that out soon. This is why I said several months ago, I hope Google buys QLock. This is why I said a month ago, man, I think they missed out on an opportunity by not buying QLock when Tencent bought them. And a lot of people said, no, the low charge porting is going to take care of that. Well, here's the thing, folks, which again, I get it. The low charge porting isn't there yet to take care of that. And that's completely understandable. I get it 1,000%. But you don't throw your hands up from that. It's not good enough. You have to say, we are charging people for 4K. We have consumers that are utilizing Stadia Pro for 4K. That could be their only reason for getting Stadia Pro. And if we're going to put a game in this service, it has to have a 4K option. I'm sorry, people. So here's the thing. I'm going to enjoy the game. I got my 60 frames per second mode. There are plenty of games that are on Stadia that are 1080p 60. And even though, you know, like I said, I would have desired a better native resolution. I got AI upscaler on this TV. I can play it. You know what I'm saying? Any which way. You got to do better in ensuring that output is where it needs to be. You don't pay $1 kajillion to get it fixed. You don't do what Project Storm says in the chat. I see you, Storm. Get your crazy ass. Crank it up. Soldier Boy, crank that. You don't do that, because that's going to just lead you down another embarrassing path, you know, and you've exhausted money. No. What should have happened is that while this tool set was being developed, coinciding that tool set, a master team of porters were either bought or being hired to fine tune the game. Look, there's an article that I did a video on where I can't. The Division 2 only performs as great as it does, not because of Massive. It's because Massive worked with another Ubisoft studio that made another game for Stadia, and they had all this experience. So it took two studios to work together and give us the masterpiece, which is Division 2. A game that I played this weekend, y'all, on PC. And even though I got a 3070 and I cranked that boy to Storm's point, but I cranked that mug up. It wasn't that much far off from what I get from Stadia. That was in the early, that was 2020. We're in 2022. And with this new process and that new process and this and that, we can't even get that in some of these instances. So I know the hardware is capable, but the incentive was the money. Must be the money. And they can't shell out that money anymore. I get it. But relying on this low charge porting alone isn't going to do it. Unless there are things happening here. Meaning, if we got an Immortal Phoenix Rising situation where the 4K is coming later but very soon, and there's actually an ETA that can be provided, non-issue in my mind. That's me. I don't want to speak for everybody, but I feel that way. Or what you got to do then, or you got to go back at Stadia Pro. I hate to say this. You're going to have to go back at Stadia Pro, and you're going to have to redo the pricing model. You're going to have to look at the pricing model. You're going to have to say, look, temporarily, look, right now we can't confirm 4K. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to give you a $6.99 option for Stadia Pro games. That just gives you the access to the games. or we're going to give you a $6.99 option for 4K 60 and 5.1 surround sound, or you can get both for $9.99. This has to be this has to flow right for the consumer. And it isn't enough to say we're going to rely on the low charge porting to do its thing, because apparently it's just not far along yet. And that's okay. But what's not Gucci is putting that game in Stadia Pro for someone who's paying for it specifically for the 4K to not even have that option. Every game in Stadia Pro has to be in 4K. And so then people are probably going to look at me and say, well, MM2K, shut your ass up, because what they going to do is they're not going to put it in 4K. I mean, they're not going to put it in Pro, and we're going to have to pay $40 for it. Fine. Yes, I said it, fine. We got to do right. We got to do right by the consumer. And I would hate that, because I don't know how I would feel about paying $40 for a game that maxes out at 1080p. I don't know how I feel about that. Maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't. But there has to be some guardrails here in the process that holds everybody accountable. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I just feel like I don't feel right knowing that a game is going into Stadia Pro without 4K. The 60 frames per second thing, y'all know I'm a staunch fighter for that, but that's not part of a product model. That's not a core part of a model. There's nothing in Stadia Pro says you get 60 frames per second, or there's no service that, 60 frames per second that was heavily promoted or whatever. That's a whole different argument. But what you have here is you have 4K that is part of a marketing model. You make the game accessible through that model, and 4K isn't available. Again, it's the equivalent of Xbox Live, PS Plus saying, pay us X amount of dollars a month if you want to get access to the multiplayer modes in these games. But then one of them saying, you know what? For this game, we're not going to give you access to multiplayer. You know what I'm saying? Or for that game, it won't be. It's the same thing. So charging for an amenity, but not having that amenity available in all the situations where it should be, is a problem. Unless, again, this is a temporary thing. And if it's a temporary thing, then you got to be transparent about it. Don't do what y'all did with Grime. Don't do what we got going on with Grime. Where Grime said, hey, look, we got the 4K coming, and as far as we ain't seen it yet. Don't do what y'all did for Grime. There has to be an ETA, and we got to know people are working on it. Kind of like Phoenix Immortal Rising. So those are my thoughts, y'all, on this whole thing. We're going to end this poll, and I'm going to get you guys' thoughts on this. And then I'm going to read your comments. Let me see here. And then we'll move from there. Let me see. Are you upset? Oh, hold on. Let me see. How do you feel there's no 4K mode for World War Z Aftermath? All right. So I'm going to say, let me see, the options are upset. Let's see, upset, little, not okay, upset, not sure. Here's how we're gonna do this. Not sure. Okay if with it if added later. Don't care. Here we go. There we go. So all that rambling, if you listen to that and that made your ears bleed because you're like MM2K, you're being too extra about it, let me know in the chat. How do you feel that there's no 4K mode for World War Z Aftermath? Are you upset? I'm not sure. Okay with it if added later? Don't care. Again, personally, dude, I have two answers to this. I'm okay with it if added later, but I'm a little upset that if there isn't any update on this, that we're starting to see a trend. It's a small trend. We're starting to see a trend of games going into Stadia Pro for the amenity of 4K that does not include that amenity. Something has to change. There has to be a little bit more effort to do something about that. Again, is Stadia doomed? They're terrorizing its consumer. No, it is none of that. None of that. But as someone who loves this platform, who will continue to support this platform, I gotta call it as I see it. And that is something that I think there needs to be a little bit more care added to. Even if it doesn't launch with 4K, then make sure that there is a plan to get 4K added soon and be transparent about it. That's how I feel about it. But again, that's me. Let's talk about how y'all feel about it, okay? And again, these votes are anonymous. Nobody knows. You know, let me do this. And I want everybody to participate. Come on. Come and vote for the vote in our poll over 4K mode in World War Z Aftermath. Sometimes we got to talk about stuff. Sometimes there's a lot of things revolving. There's a lot of things happening. Stadia's going through a big pivot. I think ultimately Stadia does want to satisfy its gamers. So stuff happens all the time. Like we had Microsoft that was like, okay, you know, we got to make a business. Sometimes business decisions clash with what's for the betterment of the consumer. And when those situations happen, we ain't, you know, there's no doom and gloom, but we just got to speak up. That's all. Let me see. Live. And that's all we're doing here. Live now in the chat. All right, let's talk about it. We got a comment from none and only my brother, G Million. And G Million says, I almost pooped myself at work on Saturday. What happened on Saturday? What the? Are you just randomly letting me know that you have poor muscle control, G Million? Stop it, you wacko. That's my brother G Million. Oh man, I ain't heard from you in a minute, man. How's your gaming? I know you've gone more to PlayStation 5. Let us know in the chat how you gaming, man. All right, so let's talk about it, y'all. Hey, let me flip things around because I can barely see what the hell's going on. I'm sorry, y'all. And that's why I'm trying to read your chats and I can't see. All right, so and your mama knows says, I think I tuned into every Chill Times with Squids. Man, it's a hell of a show. Let me see. Storm says, uh-oh. Oh, man. What's up? Dr. Streetmax is in the house. He just can't wait to play World War Z tonight. Man, hey, look, I had a good time with it. I was playing it beforehand. It was, and for a 1080p game, yeah, playing it on my 48-inch LG TV, yeah, it was a little bit more blurred than I wanted, but it didn't look like that the textures were, you know, those bad textures that normally you get in those 1080p modes on the Stadia game. It looks like, I mean, if I'm looking at MotoGP 21 and I'm looking at this game, the performance modes aren't as bad as the performance modes used to be. But again, they're still working on the low charge porting. So that low charge porting is at least doing that. But what they need to continue to tweak is that resolution. If we get those performance modes at like a 1440p, at the very least a 1200p, it'll go a long way. You know what I'm saying? Here we go. Crack that Stadia. Hey, what Storm is trying, I'm gonna call him Project Sabotage. That's his new name. Project Sabotage. Storm wants to sabotage Stadia. He wants them to go out like the Xbox One X, crank up all this hardware, the doodads and boodads and the gigahertz and the bibbleworts for developers not to even develop for it. And it's still, you know what I'm saying? And it'd be worse off because now there's these bibblewatts and gigahertz that they've talked about, and the game still look the same. So we gonna change the homie Storm's name to Project Sabotage. That's what he wants them to do. No, what they need to, there's stuff that needs to be done better. And the answer for better is, it's a two-hit combo, baby. It's got to be a combo, and I get it. Y'all ultimately want the low charge porting to take care of it all, but you're not there yet. So there has to be a two-hit combo. Pop! That low charge porting. Boop! Is all right. Now we got our teams coming up. The low charge porting, get it up, get a 4K mode and a performance mode. No. All right. Porting team, come on in. And I get it. We talked about it on Sound Off. They're hiring for porters. Too late. There's something you got to speed up to do this now. Because what you can't change, which I totally get, is you can't change the developer effort. If you go back to the developer and say this ain't good enough, they're gonna say, okay, well then we're not putting the damn game on here. I get that. So there's just something extra you gotta do. That's all. Especially for a game like World War Z that's going into Stadia Pro. Let's see what else we got here. We got Jay Smith in the house. What's good, Jay Smith? Sanchez says, Stadia on my phone looks awesome, but on my PC with Chrome browser, it has a visible lag and does not look good on my 4K LG TV. If you're talking about World War Z, yeah. Again, if you're playing it on your phone, you're not going to notice the difference. The gameplay, great for me. What happened was it was weird. At the beginning, there was just a stutter when the game started. I was like, oh my God. And then the stutter was gone. And there was zombies everywhere. You know what I mean? And it plays great. It looks good for a performance mode game. But they got to get that 4K in there. And now your mama knows says, I'll have to wait and see how it looks like later. Yep. Now, Psalmist Pro says, I really don't care that much for 4K, but if you're making me pay for it, then I'm entitled. Yeah, exactly. Like Psalmist Pro, I'd rather have the 4K, You know what I'm saying? I'm a resolution guy, but I can work with this. That low charge porting does do something to some degree. I've seen it in MotoGP 21, and I'm seeing it here for the performance modes. But I feel some type of way about you having as one of your main amenities 4K, and you're throwing games in the service that aren't in 4K. But great point. Sean L said that I can agree with. He said that MFer saw his pro spitting. I can dig it. Exactly. Yep. And now your mama knows you got it. Great minds think alike. Stadia should split 4K and monthly games into a separate cost. Exactly. That's how you fix that. And the reason, and you got to do that as somebody who's selling to consumers, but I'm going to tell you why you do that. You do that not only because it's fair to the consumers, but it keeps you in check. Because I get it. There's going to be business decisions made, and you're going to go with them business decisions as a business wherever you can slip and slide out with them decisions. But it keeps you in check for a standard of quality. Because what you rather have people do is pay the $9.99. You understand what I'm saying? See, them having the 4K servers and all that stuff, I mean, it costs money, but the real kit and caboodle is them paying for the games. So if they split the service up, $5.99 or $5.99 or $9.99 for both, then I think you get into a better situation. And you can't have a service where the pillar is 4K. People are getting charged for that 4K, but the game's coming in there doesn't have that pillar. Doesn't have that amenity. It's not going to work. Let's see here. Dusty says, and put it only on games that you buy until they get the porting and effort in order. Hold on. Oh, no. It's two parts. He says, or just take 4K and other performance out of Pro entirely. No, I wouldn't do that. Here's why I wouldn't do that. Because, again, you have people that don't care about the Stadia Pro games at all. So, and we want those 4K people to help subsidize the whole 4K. We want those 4K only people to subsidize the membership thing. So you split it up. Maybe make it $5.99 for 4K and 5.1 surround sound. You have it, then you have it $6.99. Yeah, no, but we need the 4K people to help subsidize. Yeah, because there's people that just want it for the 4K. Yep. So I get what you're saying there. Project Storm says, shake my head. Never thought we'd be talking a lack of 4K, even upscale in 2022. This is not cool. I keep telling people that 4K matters as far as perception goes for some. Yeah, I think that we have two problems here. Number one, the output is going backwards in the minds of a lot of people. And I kind of get why it's there. It's there because people, they were paying for these games, a lot of money for these games, but that wasn't sustainable. They were hoping that they would be farther along and people would just willingly want to do that. COVID and them not meeting certain milestones or whatever changed all that. And I think another thing that Stadia didn't do up front, where as great as the technology is, where they kind of had the platform is nowhere near a failure. It is if it's not the best, it is of the best cloud streaming platforms out there as far as productivity is concerned. You know what I'm saying? We have certain surveys and polls that prove that. But where it kind of fell short, rather, is they didn't take the porting process, and they didn't make the porting process as smooth, and they didn't focus on that enough. And now they are trying to focus on it in the advent that people don't want to go through all that work to get it running on the platform without the upfront money. That's the situation that they're in. So you had people that were a little bit more willing to do it, as long as they have tens of millions following. The tens of millions ain't following, so they're not willing to do it. Completely understand why you're in a situation, but you can't. Some of that tens of millions, or some of that money that went to SG&E or whatever, it needed to go to a two-pronged process. Prong number one was the low-charge porting. The simultaneous prong should have been to porting, because every example that we have of a game that works and performs great on Stadia required help. The only one I'm not sure about is Doom. But Doom, and I don't know the technicalities of it, but Doom had Vulkan elements or whatever, so that could have made it easier. Who knows? I don't know. But all the other games where we're like, yeah, that's a great, they had help. And Stadia, there should have been help simultaneously with the low charge porting. Once it spit out whatever the result was, if the developers weren't willing to tweak it themselves without wanting a lot of upfront money, then you put the effort in. And even if this is temporary, again, this is not a long-term solution. You only do this until until the low charge porting gets better, where the developers can say, oh, well, it ain't much for me to tweak this and get this and do up these loose ends. So I get it. You didn't want to dedicate yourselves to something that was a temporary fix, but you're asking people to pay money now. And that's where the business decision element of it, that's where sometimes it gets overlooked. And sometimes we as consumers, enthusiastic about this new way to play games and the longevity of it, sometimes we're willing to sacrifice our consumerism for it. But at some point in time, y'all, you got to sit down and have the talk. Look, guys, we love you. We know what you're doing and we know what you're going through. And we know that you mean well. But this business decision is really put a cramp in my consumerism. You got to really think about charging me for Stadia Pro 4K when it's not always available in the service. You're going to have to, there's two things that you're going to have to do. You're going to have to split the subscription service, which they really don't want to do because they want to get the full $9.99. But that keeps you honest. And it keeps you working towards that low charge porting to get it to a level of quality, or you rapidly get some other porting team in here ASAP. So that's what I think is happening, Storm, to where as great as the product is, and as much as I love it, and I love it still. I mean, look, the game that you're seeing on the screen right now, Division 2, I mean, all right, let's just say if I couldn't play World War Z, which I can. I'm going to enjoy it. I still can play the Division 2. No matter what I have, all I'm playing right now is Division 2 anyway for the next 2 months once this new thing drops. You know what I'm saying? So it's fine for me. The problem is that as a consumer, I look at that and I say, nah, there's a business decision being made that's just going a little bit too far. Just a little bit too far. G Million says, I wasn't feeling good that day and I lift up something heavy. Hey, G Million, get your ass out of here. You nut. He's a wacko. All right. So what else we got here? Let's see. I would still sign up for Pro for the games and discounts. Yeah. And that's where I think if you have a Stadia Pro, $5.99, $6.99 that just has the games in it, I think you alleviate that problem. Is it 4K on other systems? I don't know where it's all available. I know it's 4K on PC, and for PC, all you need is a GTX 960 to get to 4K on PC. All you need is a GTX 960. So it's possible, but because of the intricacies of developing on Stadia, I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit more of a challenge. But nonetheless, you have a game going in the Stadia Pro that is not 4K. And you gotta do something about that. This is a good point. I don't really care for 4K, but I am paying to receive 4K and I'm not receiving 4K. Absolutely. That's I mean, again, the platform isn't perfect. I can sit here and I can nitpick at certain things as I can nitpick at other platforms. What I am going to do, which I'm not going to do that because none of them are perfect. These are the early years. And there was just some things that, coincide with it being the early years and this being nuanced tech. However, there were just some practices that have to be amended. You know what I mean? And again, I know because as a Fortune 500 person myself, there are often times that we would make decisions, some that I would co-sign off of, not really taking into consideration the consumer impact the way that I should because I'm trying to reach a certain goal or, there's things happen internally that I got to deal with. And then I would talk to my team about it, and particularly one of my teams, which I love interacting with, which was the call center, because they dealt with people directly. The call center would say, no, I can tell you right now, this is going to cause A, B, or C. And why didn't you guys sit and think this? Yeah, that is, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes when you're consumer facing on certain issues, like you can't consumers can't have everything they want. If they had everything that they want, Stadia Pro would be $1.99 and we have 8K 300 frames per second. You know what I'm saying? But they can't have everything that they want. We get it. There's got to be a balance. But there are just some things, just some areas that you don't step into because they're stepping on too much the whole consumer thing. All right. And trust me, I get it. I get it, Stadia. And when I say Stadia, I don't mean Stadia social media. You guys are innocent in all this. I mean Stadia higher levels. You know what I'm saying? The people that are making the big money. I get it because I was there. But this is you got to make a decision. Something has to change. Colin says, I understand why Project Storm would be upset, but I don't own a 4K screen. So yeah, I get, and again, there are going to be people that this doesn't affect, but for those that it does affect, you know what I'm saying? You definitely gotta, something has to be amended. Rather, I'll put it that way. Something has to be amended. The low charge port is great and it's going to be fantastic long term. It's going to be the answer to our prayers long term. But until it gets to that point, you need something else. You know what I'm saying? Sean says, okay, I don't think I'll care, but you made a very valid point. I'm paying for Pro. They should have games that showcase what the hell I'm paying for. Exactly. That you're going to have to. Yeah. And I'm with you, Sean. Like, I'm going to play World War Z personally. I'm going to play World War Z and not give two chicken issues about it. You know what I'm saying? As personally. I'm going to play it. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to have a blast. I'm going to hit up people We're going to be playing it. We're going to be streaming it. You know what I'm saying? No, but I can't talk the talk that I talk on this channel. I can't do the things that I do. I can't talk all the consumerism stuff that I'm doing just because a platform I prefer has a practice that is questionable. I can't sit there and say, you PlayStation fanboys, you let Sony get through this, and you Xbox fan. I can't do that, and then I do the same thing. So even though the effect on me isn't immediate and direct, I'm with you, Sean L. This doesn't feel right, and something has to be amended. Dusty says, I fell out of gaming from about 2010 or 11 until about 2017 or 18. So I missed the boat on this. KS, PS, FPS enthusiast mentality. I've been trained to see it, so I don't care because of my vision. I wouldn't say so much of mentality. I mean, yeah, mentality. It's when it comes to digital media, let me give you a prime example. I've told the story 1,000 times. I'm not going to bore you guys too much with it. But I think it's relevant for those that haven't heard it yet. I used to be a big Destiny 1 fan, fanatic. The game was ugly as hell on the 360. It just was. But I had so much fun playing it. It was me, my brother, and a developer friend playing the game, right? And so we made a plan. We said we love Destiny. We're going to keep playing it here on the 360 no matter what. Because the new consoles were coming out. The new consoles were coming. The Xbox One at the time and the PlayStation 4 were coming out. And so my brother actually came up and helped me put together my first PC. And so we're playing, but we're all playing on the Xbox 360. We're playing Destiny. And we all made a pact. This is how the Old Dirty Blasters started, as a matter of fact. We were the original Old Dirty Blasters, me, my brother, and our developer friend. And the friend told us, he said, look, man, yeah, let's make this pact. We're not going to get caught up in these new consoles. What we're going to do is we're going to build up our rigs and just play and get, if we need a game that looks fresh and dope, because of his graphics or whatever, if that's just a need, we'll do it on our PCs because that's going to be better. As a developer, he had told us, he said and he worked for a huge company. He worked for a huge development company. He said, all these dreams that you're being sold on these new consoles, even the PlayStation 4, is BS. If you want graphics, if graphics is your thing, or frames per second is your thing, then you need to get a PC. And we said, okay. So that's what we were doing. Well, lo and behold, one of the games that I was highly anticipating was a game called Division. And Division, there were a lot of underground PC camps that my brother communicated in that I was part of as well. #Merc. If y'all know what Merc, you know what I'm saying? That's all I'm going to say. I don't want nobody coming out of the woodwork and putting a big duffel bag over my head and throwing me in the back of a van. But #Merc, MIRC, baby. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I'm going to leave that one alone. Anywho, there's a lot of underground channels my brother was in, and he knew how much I love the Division. So he was telling me, he was like, look, man, I'm hearing there's cats that already got access to that game and they going to hack and cheat the crap out of that game. I said, what? He said, yeah, man. He said, you might want to hold off on that. Lo and behold, after Division came out on PC, he was right. Remember, the cheating was so bad on the Division, but I knew to trust my brother because he has an eye for this stuff, right? He used to be a VP at, a big time internet firm at the time. You know what I'm saying? So I heard that and I'm like, oh man. I said, all right, well, I'm gonna still be part of I'm gonna still, you know what I'm saying, follow the plan. but I got a little bit of extra money. I got a little extra cash. You know what I mean? So I went and bought an Xbox One in preparation for Division coming out, because I was going to get it on console instead of PC, because that was my most anticipated game. When I saw Division at E3, my mind was blown. I was blown away. I said, this is what I was looking for in a game. So I said, let me get the Division. I go get the console for the Division that year, and I said, well, let me see how Destiny looks on here. And I downloaded Destiny, and it looks so much better on my Xbox One than it did my 360. I couldn't go back. And it was cross-platform. It wasn't cross-play, unfortunately. It was cross-platform. And the problem with that is my brother and his friend were still on 360. I was on Xbox One, and I can't lie, I abandoned them. So it wasn't so much that I was an enthusiast for the visuals, but when you're in digital media and you see these stark improvements, like I ain't got to go fishing for them, but when you see these stark improvements, it does elevate the floor that you're willing to deal with. Like back in the day when we was gaming with the UHF thingy, remember the games used to have grain and stuff to them sometimes in static, and we didn't care, we would play them. Now that we're in the digital era, we would never tolerate that. So once you get introduced to something new, systemically, it's like that floor that you were willing to accept raises up. So I get it. I get where people, now they get their 4K TVs, they're watching stuff in 4K. I get to where they're going to want more 4K content. That's just a natural adaptation. And I think we've all gone through that. Nobody's playing games at mass at 240p and like, ooh, this is a great experience. They're not doing it no more. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a natural progression, but at the same time, I get it. Stadia's target demo isn't all the way there yet. You got a section that is happy with 1080p, as you see in our chat. You got a section that want 4K. But I think the service has to adapt to that. It has to be amended to that. Especially if you're putting games in the service for 4K that don't have that amenity. You know what I mean? Like give people a relief. All right, have them pay $5.99 for the 4K surround sound amenity. Have them pay maybe $6.99 for the game amenity. But they can get both for $9.99. All right, let's continue on. You guys are killing it here in this chat. Dr. StreamX says, dang, keep them cheeks. You know what I'm saying? G Milia with the poor muscle control. Let's see here. Hold on. Sean L says, I play on Switch as much as I do Stadia, so res don't mean so much to me, but I can't use anything I'm paying. Yeah, my surround sound isn't working. 4K isn't out there like the let's do right by the consumer. You do right by the consumer two ways. You either split up that subscription model, or y'all churn it up on ensuring that 4K becomes a consistent thing for games going into Stadia Pro. And look, I wouldn't be saying, like I'd be willing to even scoff at it and move on if we already didn't have the game that you see on the screen, Grime. We didn't already have Young Soul. Well, no, Young Souls didn't go into Stadia Pro. We didn't have Grime. We didn't have others that went into Stadia Pro without 4K. He says, I love Stadia more than you at Stadia Dosage News. Just like my kids, I demand better. Well, I mean, better is subjective. Like to you, you might want the kid to be good at gym. I want the kid to be good at math. That's all I'm saying, Storm. You know what I'm saying? I want them to go. You may want them to go on a basketball scholarship. I want them to go on an academic scholarship. You know what I mean? So yeah, I want better output, but I know what's going to cause it. I don't know. You're not getting better out of hardware. All you're getting is bragging rights that just will not come to fruition, like the Xbox One. And I don't know about you, but I bought mine's day one, and I'm still burnt over that. I bought my Scorpio edition day one, and to see that my PlayStation 4 Slim was putting out games that look better than my $200 console was putting out games that look better than my $500 console. Fool me once, shame on you. Ain't no way on God's green earth I'm gonna be going down that merry-go-round again, following numbers and stats on paper. No, we need better effort. So it's just a matter of what we want the kid to do. We want the kid to be an academic scholar, or we want the kid to be good at hoops. I want the kid to be the academic scholar. So for this one, I don't care. Primarily play on my laptop, which is 1080 display, 144 hertz, and I pay for Pro to receive multiplayer games I can play with myself. Exactly. So for someone in Cowboy's situation, it's not a big deal. Even in my situation, because if there was a 4K 30 mode and a 1080p 60 mode, I'm going with this anyway, and you're not even hearing from me. But I'm speaking out for other consumers who this affects. Dusty says, I wonder if devs are treating Stadia like other cloud offerings since they don't have 4K. I wonder if devs are treating Stadia. That's a good point. But I mean, no, I don't think that's it, Dusty. Now that I think about it, because when it comes to, no, the other platforms don't have 4K because they just can't produce it. Opposite GFN and opposite Shadow. GFN can produce it via that box, and I think Shadow can do 4K as well. So the other platforms don't have it because they're just not capable of it. Stadia is capable of it, but because it's its own standalone platform, it isn't a conduit to something else, they don't feel like developing towards it. But that's a good question. Yeah, Zombie War 4 runs in 4K 60. And I get it where this game might be bigger, but I'm looking at the assets and everything. Yeah, I see a lot of similarities there. There's no reason, really. And again, I'm just negotiating the floor. I'm not talking the ceiling. I think we're at a point right now to where we should be getting 1440p upscale games. Like I think that should be the norm. 1440p upscale to 4K. And if you don't have Stadia Pro, fine, you got to deal with 1080p 60. That's what I feel like we should be getting. Maybe an 1800p upscale 30 frames per, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was only negotiating the floor. Where I think we should be at is, again, 1440p 60 for the performance mode, 1800p upscale to 4K 30 for the 4K modes. That's where I think we should be at on a regular basis, on a more frequent basis. But I'm saying this at the bare minimum, 4K 30, 1080p 60, You got to have both modes, especially if we're talking about Stadia Pro titles. You know what I mean? Let's see here. He says, ODBZ, let's go. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. I can't wait for that Division 2 to come out. Storm says, just tried it, T-Rash. Performance reminds me. Nah, no. Stop, Storm. Now you capping, bro. You done cracked open that Henny. Stop. I played a whole 15 minutes. There was a staggering, like the first 10 seconds. I said, oh, what the hell was this? And then, but then after the first 10, it kind of reminds you of Darksiders 3, where the first part of Darksiders 3, for some reason, it just bobbles up. I was like, oh, here we go. But after you get past that part, it's buttery smooth. You capping now, bro. Or you need to stop downloading your SpongeBob torrents. Turn off your SpongeBob. I don't know what the hell you got going on over there. No, it's fine. Yeah, you capping, bro. Now, if you said, "Oh man, it looks kind of blurry," I can dig it there, but no, you capping. I think Stadia looks as a combo because it doesn't say you pay $9.99 for every game in 4K. You pay $9.99 to have games in 4K. And monthly games. Now the month we don't get either equals problem. Yeah, but still, I know, you again, the scenario that I gotta use, Cowboy, is like PlayStation Plus. PlayStation Plus says you're gonna get free games every month and you get access to the multiplayer on games. You know what I'm saying? You get access to multiplayer on games. So can you imagine a situation where PlayStation says, all right, Call of Duty drop, but even if you got PlayStation Plus, you're not getting access to the multiplayer. And then you turn and you look over at Xbox and you turn and look over at wherever, and the you get access there, and they just say, well, in the porting process, you know what I'm saying, there's just not going to be any multiplayer, but keep paying for PlayStation Plus. Nah, at some point in time you got to split that up. You got to do something. And there's no, believe you me, if that were to happen, people would be having a conniption over PlayStation Plus, and Sony would have to be transparent about what's going on. I think there's never, I get to where you may not have to be as boisterous as a PlayStation and as an Xbox, but when it comes to these things to where the norm isn't being met, then you gotta be transparent. Again, is it coming later? And if it isn't coming later, let's have a discussion about games going into Pro that don't have 4K. Let's see. Case Ball says the biggest disappointment is that World War Z is not crossplay. All the game announcements said it was. Well, I get that disappointment. And we want to see that handled better by the developers. That's definitely a developer thing. And if the developer cannot make it cross-platform, there's nothing Stadia can do on that end, because that's working with their individual servers and stuff like that, and how they communicate with different platforms. there is no porting process Stadia can do on that case, boss. So I get, hey, if you want to come in and throw that in on the plate too, all right, I can dig that. But that's more of a discussion with the developers not meeting expectations. I'm talking about Stadia themselves not ensuring that the product that they're delivering and that they're having people pay for meets reasonable expectations consistently. So even though I get that disappointment, that is something I can't point at Stadia's feet, but I can point this whole 4K and the Pro thing because Pro is Stadia's thing. But I get where you're coming from. Nerdswell says, can someone go to my channel and tell me if my stream is up? It's not showing on my end, please. Thanks. Let's see here, what else? Shout out to Ashes in the house. Roger says, I play 4K HDR and 5.1. The pro games should do at least 1800p. Yeah. That's where I think that's where we should be at, but we understand the ramifications of decisions that were made. The porting process wasn't thought of thoroughly enough, and now they're trying to fix that. So we're going to operate under that a little bit more frequently than we like, but there still has to be a floor that we don't go under. Honestly, I'd like at least 1440p, but if it was 1080p 60 with ultra graphics, I'd be cool with that. Yeah. I mean, some of the blurriness for me on this new LG TV would bother me. So that's why I said at least 1200p. 1200p, I can be like, okay, cool. But, especially games that require you to look out in the distance, you know what I'm saying? I would prefer, I can temporarily settle on 1200p, but 1440p would need to, I think, be a target performance. What else we got here? Yeah, you can drop a vid, but that's your problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's your problem. How is that Stadia's problem if everybody else is telling you that it's smooth? Come on, Storm, stop. Stop. What are you doing, man? Put the Henny down. And you said you driving too? Stop, bro. I love you. We love you, man. We got to get Nancy Reagan out here. Don't drink and drive. Wasn't she an ambassador for MAD? Come on, man. What are you doing? That's a you thing. You can drop a video all you want. Just like somebody could drop a video that that Division 2 can't get past 1080p. That's on them. That's your. I don't know. I could drop a video too, but you're capping when you say "come on Stadia" in your other comment, right? Here we go. What the hell is going on, y'all? It's your setup. That's what's going on. Put the Henny down. Come on, man. They gonna keep doing this week to week. Dusty says, you raise good points. Yes, Stadia should ensure 4K, but have the devs or publishers tweeted about this 4K thing. So when I see that, Dusty, I see two issues. I see a situation where we would like to see 4K as a gamer. That's a gaming issue to where the developer never guaranteed 4K. And there's not a guarantee that every game is going to have a 4K mode because the developer can do what they want to do. That's the truth. So that's a gamer concern. That's different from the consumer issue of paying for Stadia Pro that advertises for a 4K amenity and a game going in there, a major game on the platform at that, going there without that amenity. So I get what you're saying, but it could be their intention to never make it 4K. That still shouldn't stop it from A, helping to amend the prescription model, or B, having Stadia sit down and say, you know what? Yeah, we can't keep doing this. Now, we don't want to break up the subscription model, but yeah, maybe we do put together a rapid fire team that alleviates this. So, and again, it's a valid point, Dusty. I just don't want to contort the two. Very valid point, because somebody should be able to answer, is a 4K mode ever coming? So maybe you do start with the developer. You say, is a 4K mode ever coming? And then you say, okay, if all right, developer, you confirm that the 4K mode ain't coming. All right, Stadia, let's have a talk. I think that's how that should work. Mike Rolfe says, we have the same for Deliver Us the Moon. We are getting the 4-year-old version, not next gen. I don't know if there's going to be a bump in the resolution though. Just because it's the 4-year-old version doesn't mean, you know what I'm saying, like the next gen version would have upgrades in the textures, doesn't necessarily mean that there wouldn't be an upgrade in the resolution. So we'd have to take a look at that one. Storm says, I feel that Stadia is at the mercy of the devs, which is understandable, but if I knew it wouldn't be ready, I would have waited to invest. Bring Nancy on out here. All right. If I'd have knew that I was having issues with GFN, I wouldn't have wasted my money on GFN, but that's the risk that we take as being gamers. Because of the digital media, sometimes you don't get everything that you want or what you expected. So what you do is you pivot to where you do go and you get what you want. You know, like I didn't expect for me to play my Ubisoft games on the 3080 tier, a tier that I'm paying, that I was asked to pay until I got rid of it, 66% more, and look at my Ubisoft games, and I'm really not getting a 66% difference consistently, but that's the risk that I took. If you found something that you're happy with, then good. Just like I didn't expect for Xbox, as far as this content that it was focusing on, I didn't expect it to go on the path that it did. And then for them, as far as what really turned me sour was the cloud. To see the cloud not progressing the way that it should. But then I found a cloud platform that does progress better. And then with that, I just combine that with PlayStation 5. PlayStation 5 is now putting out the catalog that I want to see in a mainstream console. So, you know, and I wasted thousands on Xbox waiting for them to get their last gen, and it never came to fruition. We're talking about a law, but it happens. You go as a gamer and you invest somewhere else. So Asher says, I'm having stuttering issues well with it, Storm, so would assume a number of happening for a number of folks. Here's the problem with that, Ashes. Let me give you an example. When I first played, what game was that? When I first played Doom Eternal. It sucked for me. Sucked. Or was it Doom Eternal? I think it was Doom Eternal. I could be wrong. And somebody told me to make a configuration setting in my router and it changed. Or reset my router or something like that, and it changed. So while I get any of these games, someone can buy and boot up, and there could be a number of people that have the same integrity flaw in their system or their network that's causing an issue. It could be a Stadia thing, but we don't know. What I'm being cognizant of with Storm is let's not talk in absolutist form. Hey, Stadia, what's up, y'all? For something that is not an absolute problem for everybody. And we don't know why it's a problem. Let me see what time. We're almost at 5 o'clock. Ralph says, I think it's more than the consumer liking the idea of 4K. We are paying for the Pro, should be $499 for what Stadia. I wouldn't say $499. No, that's a little too low. Come on, Ralph. Ralph, your last comment, we agreed on it. It's like you keep digging it. No, not $499. I got access to over 150 games, I believe, from Stadia Pro if I was part of it from day one. And those games I keep having access to, kind of like PlayStation Plus. Now, I think that they need to, break it up. The game portion should be $699. The 4K and the Dolby Surround should be $599. And if they want to ensure that they get that $999 from everybody, that keeps them honest and keeps them working on ensuring that 4K games go on to Stadia Pro and more consistently. Storm says, this is not a GFN. No, I know it's not a GFN versus Stadia thing. I use it as an example. I'm saying that I'm giving you examples of other times that people have been disappointed with the game platforms that they involved in. It's not a Stadia versus Xbox thing. It's not an Xbox versus PlayStation thing, period. It is as a gaming consumer, you run the risk of not getting fully what you expect. The down result of that is you can't recommend the service, but the hope is that you continue to look on and you move on. I had to do that with Xbox, with PlayStation. I had to do that with GFN to Stadia. So it's not a versus thing, Storm. It is a how do you react to your expectations thing? Are you going to sit there and say every year, oh man, I never thought that this was going to happen? Or are you going to move on and say, okay, well, I tried Stadia. It didn't work out for me, or it's not the lick right now for me, but I found something else. Or is me as an Xbox gamer, am I going to keep saying, oh man, Xbox did this to me? Or do I say, no, I like what PlayStation's doing? So at some point, if you didn't think that, then you must be going through Groundhog's Day, because any gamer knows that when they pick up a platform, they run a risk, just like when the Dreamcast. Now, who would have thought that when they invested as much as they did in the Dreamcast, that the Dreamcast would fold the way that it did? So things happen as a gamer. The lesson learned is, you know what I'm saying? Don't focus on the milk that's there. Get it, clean up the milk and move on. But if you are somebody that is somewhere where you want to be at, I'm talking to my people that want to be here. For the people that want to be here and you're paying Stadia Pro and you got 4K, there's something that needs to be amended about games going into 4K. So no, I think trying to frame and storm as GFN versus Stadia, the point totally flew over your head. Geek to Sneak said, xCloud has sucked for me. Yeah, xCloud has sucked for me, but I was just talking to, shout out to the homie Main Games. Me and Main had a conversation where he was like, yo, bro, I think Xbox is fantastic now. He said it more than it's working for me well now. He's not lying. I'm not lying. He's happy with the service. I'm still skeptic. I'm not touching it. All like that. Fool me once, shame on me. I done went and reinvested in Game Pass so many times, expecting this xCloud to get better. I ain't touching it. Not until it's universally adopted, more universally adopted, that xCloud is running well. They ain't gonna keep beating me with a cash register. So, and that's not an xCloud versus Stadia thing. Okay. I tried the experience. It wasn't working for me. No, I'm not going to keep investing in it. I'm not going to keep crying over it. I just, they got to prove something to me, and ain't nothing wrong with that. Yes, people should have to fight for your dollar. If they really want you, they're going to give you what you want. And if they don't give you what you want, then they can't get your dollar. But I'm not going to keep here flinging my dollar in the air. Man, you would have this only if. No, moving on with my dollar, because my time is precious and my dollar is precious. He says, Mike Rolfe says, so the problem is, I'm not arguing with the pricing model you propose. The problem is, and always has been, for sometimes Stadia are just not delivering what Pro is meant to be. Did you hear my sigh there? I'll just put it like this. What Pro is meant to be for you, Mike, is not necessarily what it's meant to be for the people that own Pro. That's what we got to understand in all this. If we thought that this platform was going to be XYZ and it ends up being ABC, and you discover that, early, before you dump thousands of dollars into a platform unlike moi, who wasted thousands of dollars and then you move on. I thought that under the Phil Spencer regime, Xbox would be trying to innovate and bring forth brand new experiences. That wasn't their move. That wasn't their lick. That's what it used to be for years. Their lick is, we want to buy up. We got this service called Game Pass. We want to buy up all the popular franchises, get them made under our helm so we can restrict where they're going and put them in Game Pass to make our Game Pass subscription more appealing. That's not the Xbox that I want. I want the Xbox that's going to create the Jade Empires, that's going to collaborate and make the Mass Effects again, to inspire the BioShocks, not someone that's going to go out there and just buy already proven IP that I would have gotten anyway. Now, I can sit there and cry about that every day and say that's not what Xbox was supposed to be. No, Xbox is supposed to be whatever the hell Phil Spencer and Satya Nadella says it is. It's just not it's not what I wanted it to be. And that's okay. They're going to still see success whether I buy into their product or not. So to frame it as Stadia Pro is not what no, it's not what you want it to be. Now, is the service perfect? No. But what Stadia needs to do is they got to come to grips with this, with pro games going into the service that don't have 4K. That's not an indictment of the entire service, because I actually prefer this model over Game Pass. I don't like the Game Pass model. If any model that I like, a subscription model I like is a Ubisoft Plus. I like a model to where all your games are going in there, and there's games that I like. You know what I'm saying? And we ain't got to worry about this rotating or that rotating. Now, granted, you can say the same thing about Game Pass, because Game Pass is putting all their first party games, but I don't care about their games. Just give me, don't try to sell me no Disney Plus. Just give me top-notch quality games from you. Put them in there, put in the gold editions. Because I don't like seeing a game in a subscription model that goes away. It's different for a movie or TV, but for games, I would like to see them there forever. All of the Ubisoft games that I want to play in Ubisoft Plus, they're going to stay there forever. I don't think Microsoft's content is at that point where it can hold it up right now. So I got to see more. But that's okay. Until I see more, I got Ubisoft Plus. That's the model I prefer. All right, guys. With that said, we're a little bit over time. And this was a very fruitful discussion. We didn't get into everything I was going to talk about. So I'm going to have to do another show, I promise. I'm going to squeeze. You know what? That's what we'll do. Me and Daryl Smock this Friday. That's what we'll talk about. I was supposed to talk about quarter one, and I didn't get there. The quarter one 22 controversy. What I mean by that is, the homie Inlet put out a graphic and says that we're like 9 games under where we were at last year, but we're still on pace for the same amount of games this year. So it sounds like that what Stadia may be doing is they're spreading out their games so there's not a whole bunch in this sector and it feels super bone dry in this sector. We don't know. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about that too. So if you're a member, join us for that discussion this Friday, noon Eastern Standard Time. Me and Daryl Smock will have that conversation with you. And what me and Daryl Smock is going to talk about is, I hate to tell y'all, man, I love Matt Piscatella. He is a genius when it comes to retail sales, but he doesn't get this cloud thing. And I don't think MPD gets this cloud thing. There were a couple of articles that he recommended. And journalists still just ain't getting it, man, when it comes to this cloud thing. So it really shows you that people really got to get better at understanding how cloud works. So what I'm going to do with Daryl Smock as well on Friday is we're going to talk about this article that Matt Piscatella recommended on the cloud, how it just has a bad tone to it, and how the tone that individuals like Matt are trying to sell about cloud gaming just don't get it. And this is cloud gaming as whole. More on Saturday checkup, we talk more, there's a Stadia subject, but then we touch on all the cloud gaming too in one subject. So we're going to talk about all the cloud, how they're just not getting it, and how these people that normally don't deal with the cloud, they're failing to realize that they got to separate themselves from what they're used to, and there's a whole different mindset and level of education they got to go through to better understand the cloud. So we're going to talk about that this Friday. That's going to be on Saturday Checkup. I know I keep saying Friday, but here's how we do it. On Fridays, for our members, we record it live with our members. Our members get to chime in like how y'all did today on Sound Off, all the other stuff, and you get to see all those comments with the members. Then we air it live 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday. You know what I'm saying? So Daryl Smock and I, we're going to be talking about that this Friday and we're going to be airing it publicly on Saturday. But what Daryl Smock and I always do is, if you're a member, you always get like bonus content. So you get content that the people on Saturday don't even see. We be having some discussions, boy. Daryl Smock, that's my bro. Daryl, if you listening, yeah, we're gonna do it up again. I gave Daryl a rest this weekend because I kind of knew this was coming up. This past Friday, I gave him a break and said, just chill out. We gonna be talking about it, man. This might be a long ass episode, so you're not gonna want to miss that. Noon Eastern Standard Time. If you don't want to miss that, or if you want to catch it early along with the bonus content, just hit the join button below and become a member. That's it. So with that said, that is it from your boy, man. We had a hell of a conversation. I appreciate and love all of y'all. And until next time, have a wonderful one. Oh yeah, and don't forget, tonight on Stadium Connect North, we are having the developer interview. I'll be joining John Scar, and we're going to be talking to Lumen Awesome, the developer. I hope I didn't butcher that. I was trying to look at my notes earlier. Lumen Awesome. We're going to be talking to them later today, courtesy of John Scar, Ninja Guy X, on a special episode of Stadium Connect North. Set your reminders. Go to John or Ninja Guy X's channel. Set your reminders now. All right, there. And until next time, I'm gonna get up on some World War Z. What? You just complained about the damn game for over 2 hours. Yeah, I told y'all. I'm fine with it. The gameplay's fine for me. I'm enjoying it. I'm gonna love the experience. But as a consumer and as someone who's looking out for fellow consumers, we had to just bring that up. Is it doom or gloom? Is Stadia Pro doomed? Or is Stadia, oh my God, I can't believe that Stadia didn't. No, ain't none of that here. But I can't have a conscious mind and not say anything about it. You know what I'm saying? I can't, because then I can't talk about the Xbox fanboys, the PlayStation fanboys. I'm being a Stadia stooge and letting something like this go without mention. You know what I'm saying? That just can't happen here. With that said, I love all of y'all. Appreciate your support. You have a wonderful gaming day. Peace. Oh, we're going to end this poll. Hold on. Let's end this poll. Let's get the final results, and then we're going to get the heck out of here. We're going to get the heck out of there. While we're waiting for the final results, let's go through these last comments. I see Randy B in the house. He said, nah, xCloud is still lagging. And mind you, if you have Verizon Files, the performance is not there yet. Don't care much about World War Z, not on 4K, but for sure, AAA games should have 4K upscale option. Says Sanchez. Geek the Sneaks said, hey, I like Game Pass, man. He said, Mars, chill out, bro. I like Game Pass, bro. And Geek, if you like it, I love it, bro. Meet Geek the Sneak, or winner of our Stadia, or Google Watch and Play bundle, brother. Let me know. You know what? I just ordered it yesterday, so you ain't get it yet. But everybody meet Geek the Sneak. Everybody out here winning today. Everybody out here eating. He said, none of these cloud platforms are where they're supposed to be, but I take them for what it is and enjoy each of them for what they offer. Luna, xCloud. Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm not a big fan of GFN, but I heavily appreciate what it offers and how it's pushing cloud gaming forward. As a consumer, it's not really for me, but still doesn't mean that I can't appreciate it, right? Hopefully this isn't a sign, cloud validation says, of things to come. No 4K, not for. That's what I'm saying. That's why hey, look, closed mouths don't get fed. Cloud validation, I can dig it. That's why we opening our mouths. It ain't no doom and gloom. Ain't no, Stadia is done. No. But closed mouths don't get fed. And sometimes there's business decisions that are made that unintentionally slight the consumer side. That's where the consumer opens their mouths up. Ralph says, I guess for many people, Pro is fine. I think it is. What do you think the split for happy versus unhappy currently? Not a trick question. I don't know. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know. I would say, I'm gonna say 70-30. I think it's 70-30. I do think that there's maybe even higher, maybe 80-20 that people are happy. Because what we don't take into consideration, Ralph, is most of the people that are on Stadia don't know who I am. They're never gonna be in this chat. They're fine. And like that one report shows, you're not You're not 40% of cloud gaming if people don't like the product. You don't represent 40%, you know what I'm saying? So what we have to understand is that we're part of a vocal minority, that the average demographic that Stadia is looking to lock down and springboard from don't have the same angst that we have. So I would say maybe 70-30, probably high in 80-20. I think there's like a 20% of us, a fifth of us, that really don't belong here yet. You know what I mean? Geek says, I would have never played Hellblade or Plague's Tale without Game Pass. Let me see what else we got. It says, losing access to games is why I canceled. Yeah, I've let it lapse. I'm done. I tried Halo Infinite. Tried the gunk. That really disappointed me. I think we got the better Wavetail game, even though the gunk looks, very impressive. We got the better Thunderfold game in Wavetail. I was very disappointed in the gunk. So hit that like button before you leave. You know it. This stream was epic. Yeah. He said, Jeff, it is the truth. I can dig it. Hey, look, Storm, you and my son, bruh, trust me. I couldn't, except for some of the games that he can't play on Jiffin, I can't get my son to touch Stadia. He fell in love when I gave him that 3080 tier. It just ain't for me. You know what I'm saying? So I can dig it. All right, with that said, I appreciate love all of y'all. I'll see you on the flip side. Until next time, have a wonderful gaming day. Peace.